Hello and welcome back to my channel, Health Gist with Sarah. And today we'll be discussing common mistakes and risk of misuse associated with OTC drugs. What are OTC drugs? OTC is an abbreviation that simply means over-the-counter drugs, and these drugs can be obtained from pharmacies without a doctor's prescription. They are intended to be used for mild disease conditions for a short period of time and are generally regulated by NAFDAC here in Nigeria. Such drugs also have a high safety profile. That is to say, when they are used as directed, they have low possibility of causing side effects or adverse effects. Now, over-the-counter drugs, though they can be obtained very easily, it does not mean that they are without risk. And those risks are what we will be discussing in this video. So if you are interested to know what they are, please stay tuned and listen and watch till the very end. Now, one of the common mistakes associated with OTCs is overdosing. Overdosing simply means taking higher than the recommended dose of a drug, either because symptoms persist or because patients erroneously assume that taking higher doses of a drug will lead to that drug working faster or more effectively. This is absolutely not true. Let me put this in perspective. Paracetamol, which is normally used for headaches, body pains, fever, and the rest, is a safe drug, but only when used in the recommended dose. Taking too much of paracetamol can expose your liver to damage. Also, ibuprofen, which is also an analgesic, when taken in high doses, can damage the kidneys. Ibuprofen and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as aspirin, too, when taken in high doses, irritates the stomach lining and they cause wound or bleeding to this stomach lining and leads to what we know as stomach ulcers. Another common mistake associated with taking OTC drugs is mixing multiple OTC medications with similar active ingredients or combining an OTC medication with a prescription medication without checking for drug interactions. The risk this poses is that a person can overdose on similar active ingredients, or you may encounter drug-drug interaction that may either potentiate the side effect of a drug or cause a drug not to give the desired effect it is supposed to. Let me explain. For instance, a mother gives a cold medication to a child because he's having a running nose, and again give paracetamol to that child because he or she has a fever. Most cold medications contain paracetamol. So if you give a cold medication that has paracetamol and in addition give paracetamol, you are increasing the dose of paracetamol that child is taking, and this can lead to liver damage. Another example of mixing an OTC drug with a prescription drug and leading to either increased side effects or inactivating the action of one of these drugs is as follows. Say, for instance, a person who is taking blood thinners, maybe aspirin or clopidogrel, takes an NSAID, let's say ibuprofen. Mixing these two drugs can lead to the danger of excessive bleeding, and this can be dangerous to a person. Or a person who is already on antidepressants that by themselves cause sedation or dizziness starts taking an allergic medication that contains, for example, an antihistamine that causes drowsiness. Taking a drug that causes drowsiness with your antidepressant that on their own has the side effect of drowsiness will lead to an increased or potentiated side effect of extreme drowsiness. The third common mistake associated with OTC drugs we'll be discussing today is the use of OTC medications for a long term without consulting your doctor. As I earlier stated while I was defining what OTC medications are, I said they are drugs that can be used for self-treatment of minor ailments for a short time. OTCs are by themselves supposed to be used for a short period of time. And that's why you always hear during adverts of drugs, they say when symptoms persist for more than 3 days, please consult your doctor. Now, the risk of using OTCs for a very long period without consulting your doctor is that you may be using those drugs to mask a very serious health condition whose symptoms you are treating without addressing the root cause of those symptoms. Another risk associated with using OTCs for a very long time is that you're also exposing your body organs to damage from using those drugs for a long period of time. Let me put this in perspective once again. For instance, you're always having headaches, and you keep taking paracetamol, and taking paracetamol. As I have said earlier, too much of paracetamol will damage the liver. Also, these headaches may just be a symptom of an underlying condition. Say, for instance, hypertension. Headache most times are symptoms of diseases. Headache can also be a symptom of malaria. So, taking OTCs, for instance, paracetamol, to treat the symptom without addressing what is actually causing those symptoms is one of the very common mistakes we find when people use OTCs. OTCs are for minor ailments and over a short period of time. If you have been taking a drug for a condition that has persisted, mostly more than 3 days, it is time to stop taking the OTC and to seek for medical attention. Also, if you're taking cough preparations and you see that even after the 3rd day, the cough is not yielding, it is time to seek medical attention because that cough may need antibiotics, which is not an OTC, to be treated properly. So one of the dangers of or the mistakes associated with OTCs is using it for a very long period without consulting the doctor. You may just be masking a health condition that can be dangerous if not treated properly. I have had a patient who was always taking antacids because he was having chest pain, and he was always on antacids. But on further discussion, we had to refer him to see a doctor because when we had a check of his vital signs, his blood pressure was very high. And when he came back to us, he did confirm that the doctor says he had a problem with his heart. So using OTCs for a long time will not be beneficial if the root cause has not been taken care of. I will be discussing more common mistakes associated with the use of OTCs and the risk involved in them in my next video. But I'm excited to know, have you made any of these mistakes I have discussed above? Please let me know in the comment section. Like this video, share it, and if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Do so. Please stay in good health and always remember that the pharmacist is your friend and he is a medicine expert.